what happens on the local level. They made it so that the municipalities had to change certain things. And this is the worst part. It actually came down when they set these new rules together that the volunteers at the Council on Aging had to take an online ethics test. We had wonderful women that were volunteering for the Council on Aging that don't know anything about computers, stressed out that they have to take an ethics test online, and they didn't volunteer anymore. So what were they doing? Was that the problem? Did we have a problem with volunteers at the Council on Aging doing unethical things? No.
No.
The problem was in the Senate because they don't have any transparency. They've exempted themselves from the Freedom of Information Act for their internal records. They've exempted themselves from the open meeting law so that you and I, we can't even watch them deliberate and do the work that they're doing for us.
Right.
So the problem was there, but they, of course, turned it around and made
Now, they're also exempted
someone
from the fair procurement laws?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so they don't have to do the bidding that every municipality has to go out and get the multiple bids. But
Wonderful.
They don't have to. They can just pick somebody.
Unbelievable. So they exempted, so it's good enough for you, but not for me.
It's good to be king.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I remember that from a movie. But yeah, you're right. That, you know, again, and they tend to throw around this reform.
Yeah.
It's a big word, and you know, oh yes, we need reform. We need reform, and I've heard it over and over and over from a lot of the incumbents, and it's, you know, reform. What are we reforming from?
Exactly.
From you.
What was the root cause to putting this reform together?
Right.
It was what was going on with unethical work, actually criminal work going on within the Senate. Diane Wilkerson, we all know that story.
Right.
That's what the public was screaming about. So they put together ethics reform and they didn't touch themselves. They touched everybody else in the Council on Aging. Why? There wasn't a problem.
No, I know it affected. I'm a big local government guy. I like to watch all the selectmen's meetings, and I attend to some of them. And again, it affected these people who are not getting paid. And again, in Mansfield, we don't get paid, and it's more burden on them.
Correct.
And more. I don't know.
We're trying to get volunteers, and they're killing us.
Right. And they get paid for their work.
And they, don't they, though?
Yeah, they sure do. Them and their extended families, some of them. Yeah.
Apparently.
We're going to find out more about that. So anyways, you came very, very close to knocking off the probably the most top politician in the state, short of the governor.
That's right. 48% of the vote.
48%. And
you know, there's 8 towns to which we won 4. And in those 4, we won each precinct. In those 4. There was another town, Bourne, which is, we call it the 5th town. We lost by 32 votes, so we call that a statistical tie. Kingston, I think we lost by about 115 votes, but it was Plymouth and Falmouth. And it was really Falmouth that was more the surprise than anything. We did very well in Plymouth also. I think we got 46% of the vote in her hometown.
So I know it's a little early, but is there any thought of running again, or do you?
We are exploring.
Exploring.
It's hard to walk away, you know, from over 35,000 voters, you know, 48% of the vote, and winning 4 of the towns.
Well,
and
that
splitting
means
2.
That means somebody likes you. I mean, it really does.
I've got over 35,000 new friends in the district, and well, we are exploring our options.
We had a couple of actually successful state representative candidates here, and we've had Sean O'Connell, who was still getting crazy. You know, there's still things going on in Taunton, but we also had Steve Howard on, and you know, and in the primary, he took 80% of the 80% of the vote, and it's like, yeah, you know, I mean, there's an energizer for you right there. He was fantastic. He's a good guy. I don't know if you know him or not.
I don't know.
Okay, he's actually star of Stage Screen and Now Politics.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, he's been in movies, and he's a part of the Screen Actors Guild and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, people say, you know, why are you going to have an actor up there? And it's like, well, you know, we've had clowns there before, so you know, why not?
We could go on and on.
On and on, yeah. So. Anyway, so your big things are ethics,
efficiencies,
yep. Okay, and corruption.
Corruption.
Although I think you've been upstaged on the corruption now, because I think the federal government's now starting to look in at things that they normally.
Thank goodness. You know, corruption is about culture. It's not about 1 or 2 people doing wrong.
Right.
It's when you don't have transparent policies, and it allows for people to make, we'll call them mistakes. well, then they're all going to make mistakes because it's been allowed. You've enabled this culture, and it comes from the top. The culture within any organization, whether it be political or a business or private, it comes from it's set from the top.
Right.
And that's the governorship, and that's the leader in the House and the leader in the Senate.
Right.
They set the tone.
And we haven't had good luck with the speakers of the House.
No.
We haven't had, we get not a good batting average.
Not a good batting average, no.
No. So, I mean, and again, but it's they're policing themselves. So, the only time we've actually gotten anything, is when the federal government gets involved, because obviously the state government, they're just stepping on each other's toes. They're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's something you would be looking into to change the way that works.
Definitely. We need to have transparent policies. We need the public to view their work being done. Right now, we can't see it.
Right, and that's odd.
And that's where the deals come from.
Where everything now is all about open meetings and everything for the Senate to exclude themselves. I mean, that just and the problem is people aren't aware of these
Correct.
things. That's the problem. Is that people are not aware of that this is what their reform consisted of. They know how it affected, selectmen, this fella and this person, and like you said, the Council of Aging people, but they don't know how it selected the people that actually make decisions that impact them the most.
For the past year, I've been giving speeches, and when I bring up the fact that the Senate has exempted themselves from all of these what I would call appropriate practices, people are aghast. They say, really? No. From the Freedom of Information Act? How can they do that? Well, they can do it.
It's odd, because you figure that the federal freedom would supersede anything that they're doing, and I wonder if there was if there really was a good legal challenge. I wonder how that would work out. You never know. It's tough fighting City Hall, and especially when when they make all the rules.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're looking forward to seeing more of you. If you decide you want to take the plunge again, I'd like to have you consider coming back, and we'll do a campaign. You must have some sort of a website. You must have some way to get a hold of you if people want to give you some words of encouragement, or they're interested in what you have to say, or they want to learn more about you.
I've had the same website for a long time, since I was beginning of selectman, going back some years. Votekeys.com. That's VOTEKEYES, votekeys.com. I've had that a long time, and it's always updated. Or people can get in touch with me. They can just call myself, 508-737-0244. I'm an open book. I've been involved in an awful lot. I'm still on the Board of Trustees for the Sandwich Historic Society and the Glass Museum down in Sandwich, which I love doing that work. So I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, that's good.
The message stays the same. 48% of the vote. It's not something you can walk away from.
No, and against a very, very entrenched, very popular, and
not as popular as you think.
Well, not statewide, because people know. Let's say
Correct.
No, they're well known. Let's say that.
Yes.
Well known because of the position.
Certainly.
And I wonder if she wasn't the president, how many people would really know who she was.
That's an excellent point. A lot of people aren't aware of who's representing them.
Right.
Locally, countywide, statewide.
Oh yeah. So, well, again, we're going to get you on the hook to come back here.
Love to, anytime.
And anytime, like I say, this is an open forum here for you to come down and talk about it. And I know it's outside our district, but we get play and airtime all over the place, and the internet puts us places, and we look forward to it. And we look forward to hearing from you and other candidates. And I know the election just happened, and they're saying already you start, but this is what you got to do.
Absolutely.
You got to start. If you're going to be serious, then you start the day after, all right? And then hopefully you don't end up like our good friend Shauna O'Connell, who's still trying to win an election that she actually won. So.
Yes, that can get tough.
Okay, hopefully by next week we'll have some answers on that, and Shauna's she's agreed to come back on, of course, and she's actually been waiting to come back on, but just due to the circumstances, she just needs to get done what she needs to get done down there in Taunton. The good people of Taunton have spoken, apparently not been heard. So, so there's they'll sort it out. Hopefully everything will be fine. So again, I'd like to thank Mr. Tom Keys.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back again next week with another great show. Again, we got the Super Bowl champion Mansfield Hornets coming in next week. Oh yeah, that's right, beefcake time. So again, if you want to be part of this show in any way, shape, or form, if you'd like to be a guest, if you would like to recommend a guest, questions for guests, anything you want, the best way to get a hold of us is on our email account at MansfieldKitchenSink@gmail.com. Again, we are on Facebook under the group section, Everything But the Kitchen Sink. So you can always get a hold of us, all kinds of great stuff, and we look forward to seeing you soon. I'd like to thank you once again for having my kitchen in your living room. This is Dan Pascucci, and from Mansfield Cable to you, we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Push and shove. Possession is the motivation that is hanging up the goddamn nation. Looks like they always end up in a rut. Everybody now trying to make it real compared to what